Throughout history, there have been many execution methods deployed to bring the life of a condemned person to an end. Some of these methods were more ruthless than others, such as hanging, drawing and quartering, and each one of these steps was more harrowing than the one that came before. Other methods, such as the axe and block, were swifter and quicker, and although brutal, were considered more merciful, if this was a case. But one method which has been used since the ancient times, and harrowingly still is used today, is stoning. This is where a group of people throw stones at someone until the victim dies from the trauma sustained from the attack. It was deployed throughout many different lands, and different groups of people used stoning to condemn the most serious of criminals. Today we look at stoning and the history behind it, and investigate whether it was one of the most barbaric execution methods deployed throughout the centuries or not. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe. Stoning as an execution method, it's believed, originated from the Near East region since ancient times, and it was used to bring the lives of criminals to an end. It was used by the Greeks and the Romans, and many writers throughout the century witnessed this sort of execution. One stoning was witnessed in ancient Greece in the 7th century BC. It is also documented in the Old Testament as a punishment for idolatry, blasphemy and other offences, and during these executions the whole settlement would punish the offender, pelting them with stones outside of a city. In the Bible, Paul the Apostle was stoned and was left for dead, and it was also written that the brother of Jesus, James, was stoned before the fall of Jerusalem. In China during Chairman Mao's Cultural Revolution, stoning was used as a method of killing, but as a punishment it is something that is closely linked to religion. In the Torah, it is the most frequent method of execution used, for example. In the Talmud, a similar method of stoning is documented, and a condemned person was thrown off a platform or a cliff, and if they did not die, then a large stone would be dropped on the chest of the victim, and if this did not cause death, then witnesses would pelt the person with stones until they died. In the New Testament, Jesus saves a woman who was accused of adultery from being stoned to death, as he challenged those punishing her, saying that one who is without sin should cast the first stone. They realised that they were not free from sin, and then let the woman go. In the Quran, stoning is a prescribed punishment for adultery. It has been used across many different lands. Following the Taliban regaining power in Afghanistan, they have already outlined that they will use stoning to administer the death penalty, and there have been reports of women being subjected to this. In Brunei in 2019, a new penal code was developed, and the mandatory death penalty included stoning for many crimes. In Iran, stoning is used as a punishment too, and people have been subjected to this even in the 21st century. In one penal code it is claimed, an adulterous man shall be buried in a ditch up to near his waist, and an adulterous woman up to near her chest, and then be stoned to death. In case the person sentenced to stoning escapes a ditch in which they are buried, then if the adultery is proven by testimony, then they will be returned for their punishment, but if it is proven by their own confession, then they will not be returned. The size of the stone used in stoning shall not be too large to kill the convict by 1 or 2 throws, and at the same time shall not be too small to be called a stone. In other countries such as Iraq, this is also being used. In 2012, at least 14 youths were stoned to death in Baghdad. There are many other countries that have deployed this throughout the past decades. But there is a significant amount of opposition to the punishment, as the Catholic Church regard it as a particularly brutal form of capital punishment, and many other human rights organisations have challenged and opposed the use of stoning. It is also considered a form of torture in the United Nations Convention Against Torture. Thanks for watching. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe, and once again, thank you so much for watching.